Thank you, Dr. Metcalf. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the school board. It is my pleasure to introduce our integrated learning plan under Plan B. We are very excited, and we know that when things came to a screeching halt March 13th last school year, we had disruptive learning. We are so excited that with the components that our state legislators put in, we have developed a quality remote learning plan that will support our families, our members of our community, will support our teachers, and I have some phenomenal teachers who are going to share with you their integrated learning experience from this summer. It has been an exciting opportunity working on this remote learning plan and the components that set up a school system for success so that we don't go back into what occurred on March 13th. The first component that I really want to stress is the component of communication. We had to address how do we plan to communicate with families, students, all of our community. We know that that is a critical piece for us, is ensuring that the communication is clear, that we're providing lots of supports to families, and communication with our teachers so that they know the plan and they understand, and that they understand this integrated learning piece that they'll be expected to participate in. We are currently working on a lot of support strategies as we look at our learning management systems that we will use. Currently, we are supporting in K-5 Google Classrooms, which have currently been in place. And then for 6-12, there will be the Google Classrooms as well as Canvas learning management system. These are both very, very dynamic systems that allow us two-way communication. We hope with our families, because we know that that is a huge piece of that digital understanding when you've got a device in front of you. So we are currently working on videos with Kent's team to provide videos of how to get on to either Google Classroom or how to get into a Google Meet. We know that that's critical, and that's why I love Plan B. We get to have kids face to face and really sit down with them and help them with these structures. We also are working on school guides for families that I call are my pictorial guides, and it shows them step by step, because we know that when families are at home, sometimes the computer has trouble connecting, and Kent's team did a great job with our Jumpstart. You're going to hear me introduce some teachers from our Reading Jumpstart camp this summer, and Kent had beautiful how to connect your device to a hotspot. He had all laid out in pictures as well as written descriptions. We're also hoping that there'll be some face-to-face sessions. I've had a principal who is actually thinking outside the box, and she shared that she would have her teachers in multiple different times have a family with their child come in and actually show these learning management systems and help kids get logged in. So that support and that communication we find is critical in Plan B with the integration of learning and ensuring that our kids are able to learn through the digital environment. I mentioned the learning management systems. We were strongly encouraged to really look at our learning management systems to be able to support our families. So at this point, we are using Google Classroom, which our teachers are familiar with, and we'll have continued professional development on that. And Canvas, which many of our middle school and high school teachers are familiar with, and we'll continue to have professional development on that. But as a curriculum team, we really wanted to know, how can we support our teachers? Because we know when they come back to school on August 10th, it's going to be really busy for them of all the procedures. So the next slide, you will actually see one of the projects that we've already started on. And we are very excited that we are working with teachers in our district to develop these Canvas student courses that we will then be able to push out into a commons area, and every teacher in our district will be able to pull that course into their course and modify it and make it their own course. This is actually one of our teachers' landing pages. We have a wonderful dynamic 8th grade science teacher at New Century. Rachel shared this with me and I fell in love. I said, you've got to show me how to make this in Canvas. But this is her Canvas landing page, and you see it's very dynamic, very inviting for children. If you'll go to the next slide, you'll actually see her science course in the first module that she has created. So you've got some beginning of the year information, but then you see week 1, she's going to be addressing science safety. And then here are the activities, the lessons, the videos, the formative assessment. If there's opportunities, there you see as discussion questions. So there's going to be a discussion board. There's a quiz. And then you see it flows right into day 2. We have currently 6th grade through 12th grade teachers in math, English, social studies, and English and science building these courses to be able to share with all of our teachers across the district. So I'm so appreciative of how our teachers have jumped in, and we'll be able to share this so that we are all better together and really moving forward in the right direction. If you'll go to the next slide, this is really the piece of where I get a lot of questions from parents and a lot of questions in the community is, what does instruction look like in integrated learning? And you heard Dr. Metcalf mention a flipped classroom. There's lots of flexibility that goes on in an integrated learning day. There'll be some times that we will have whole group instruction. We've got to be able to deliver the standards. At this point, our remote learning plan addresses the fact that we will be teaching standards and helping students by giving quality feedback to master the standards. So unlike March 13th, where really grades were not given, this time we have to continue with school as we move forward. So our digital learning plan, a remote learning plan, address the fact that we will have that two-way communication consistently to provide the teaching of the standards. We'll have whole group instruction, and that might be videoed as well, so that if Donna cannot get online when that whole group instruction takes place, that video is either stored in Google Classroom or in Canvas so that she can watch it when she's able to get online. We definitely want small group instruction occurring. We know how critical that is when students are meeting with their teacher in small groups. As Mike mentioned, that flipped classroom, I might have kids that were with me on Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they're in remote instruction, and I'm noticing online that they don't understand one of the concepts. So I assess Friday, I get the sense that I've got to do some remediation when they come back with that standard. So the first thing Monday when they come back, I might hold a small group, but I also might have some of my virtual students who are remote at home come into that small group too. So when I say it's very flexible, it's a very dynamic, flexible opportunity for our learners and for our teachers. There'll be assignments for practice that might be not while I might be face-to-face with a small group of students, and then there'll be assignments that my students are working through that I can continue to monitor with these learning management platforms. So I'm very excited for that. We also know that connectivity might be an issue, and some of our students are going to have offline experiences. So we want to make sure that that child is reached out, that the teachers reach out daily to that child, make sure that child is having experiences and opportunities, answering questions. And then what we're looking at there would be a USB external drive, and that drive would come back to school. They'd get a new drive with their assignments on it. So when we look at the integrated approach to learning, we're thinking through this remote learning plan made us think through all of the things that could happen, might happen, and we have to respond to it and really work to try to see how we can best integrate opportunities and experiences for our students. I am very excited to have with us today because I think the folks that are doing this right now, I just want to say we have the most phenomenal teachers. When we reached out to them for Canvas, they dove right in. We have 50 teachers currently teaching they started last week, they're teaching this week and next week, Summer Jumpstart Camp. This is a way to build gaps for our students. We're focusing on rising third and rising fourth grade students. And you see here, I felt like you needed to hear from the dynamic teachers who are supporting this Jumpstart Camp, who have jumped right in to make learning and exciting opportunities happen for our students. I do want to say with Candace, talk about dedication. This young lady came to Aberdeen Elementary so she could meet her children. There were 2 EL students who were in her class, and she made sure that she was there to talk with those parents and ensure that they were going to be able to participate. And that made all the difference in the world. So I'm going to turn this over to Candace to tell you a little bit about her integrated approach to learning.
Hi, I'm Candace Nekashe. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Aberdeen Elementary. So I am actually doing the Summer Jumpstart with 2nd graders. It was a learning experience for 2nd graders and for myself to collaborate with the parents and the students on technology, getting online to Google Classroom, be able to navigate through our books with literacy footprints and with big ideas, but they are doing so well with it. It was great to see them online. We meet up with Google Meet. We have a set time, set schedule, and we are also flexible around some of the other students that are unable to attend at certain times. That's where we try to navigate through our individual, our group, and our whole group class. The students were great. We're excited to see each other, give them social interaction. We were able to support their emotional needs that they may have with being apart from each other. That was very important, and you could see it in their eyes that they love to see their fellow classmates. We are able to address those emotional needs with the choice of literatures that was provided by our Summer Jump Start program. So it was great that that was considered when we were setting everything up. I take attendance, we have assignments, there's homework. We are able to monitor them with the running records to see where they are at with comprehension, fluency, phonics, and we also have a choice of vocabulary words that they are supposed to be going through with according to their grade levels. Or us also, we are doing everything according to their reading levels and their math levels. So we are able to divide them up in certain groups by those choices. Let's see. I was able to get help with other teachers, fellow teachers with the Jumpstart program. We were able to work together and use our skills. Some were more knowledgeable in certain areas. So it was great to work with individual teachers as well as a group of teachers. We were able to provide videos, English, Spanish. Like she said, there was students that had difficulty with communication. So with those videos, they were able to navigate through the system using English and Spanish. So it was great that there were resources available for us. Technical issues, you have a technical team that will be able to help. It was very easy and fluid. So it was great that we were able to go through the program and work with each other and navigate through. My kids could present using their computer now. So they are doing great. And this is 2nd graders. So I'm very, very proud of each student. I don't know if there's any other questions that some may have, but I'm glad to answer any if anybody has any.
I just have to say, if you notice behind Candace, you see a wonderful anchor chart there where you know she's been teaching her heart out. And that right there is truly what this integrated learning is going to look like, where we're providing what we do in a classroom, but it's in a digital format.
A question, Ms. Gephart, and maybe to Candace as well. How many children do we have enrolled in the Summer Jumpstart program, and how does that break down per teacher?
We have 246 students in our Summer Jumpstart program. We have roughly 5 to 6 children per teacher. So we kept class size small so that there was that really robust interaction with our students and that they could have the time for those digital meetings. They do a whole group meeting every day, as Candace mentioned, and then they do small group instruction, and you sort of see her screen there where the student is working through a guided reading lesson with Candace instructing her. So we're very proud of the turnout that we've had and very, very excited that these teachers have really jumped in with a small class size to be supportive.
They have individual goals as well. So we monitor each student So we are able to monitor the progression that they are getting throughout this program right now. So they all have individual goals, and we are able to monitor where their standing is right now.
So Candace, I know you haven't been at this very long since the program
No.
just got started, but are you seeing increased ability to manipulate the platform and to be responsive online, since we know that's difficult for young children?
Yes. So the first day this is second graders. They're very young, and honestly, they can navigate. I told them they're going to be able to teach. They're going to be able to teach other students. So I am actually very, very proud of them. So they are doing wonderful. I wish you could see them navigate. They could show you.
You know, this is Helena. It's very exciting to hear kind of this jumpstart and this test, right, of the remote learning. What kind of feedback have you gotten from parents and caregivers?
We have gotten a lot of support. I've got 2 more teachers who are going to talk to you about their experience with Jumpstart. And there's one, I'm not going to steal Patsy Ward's story because she'll get me if I do, but there is one precious story that just shows you how phenomenal our community and parents are, and how supportive of learning experiences like this, and what their kids are getting from it. So at this point, I'm going to dive right into Kayla Carter. And this, I wanted you guys to see the platform when our students get into Google Classroom. Here's the inviting cover. I love the artwork on there. And then Kayla has posted little messages. So I'm going to allow Kayla to share with you her classroom and what are some of the things. And I will tell you, she jumped right in and has made a huge impact on students with guided reading. One of the things I do want to say is, you heard Candace mention, we have done running records. So it is now truly about teaching skills to children and learning and filling those gaps. So Candace, take it away. Carla, take it away. Kayla, take it away so we can find out about your classroom.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited about Summer Jumpstart Camp. I have 6 students, and we have a set time every morning that we meet. During our first meeting, we did a get to know each other. We had a few activities and some writing activities that we did. I was able to assess the children through Literacy Footprints, which is a tool that was given to us. I was able to test them on their sight words, on their leveled words, and we were also able to do some running records in order to see where our students stood with their reading levels. With those running records and the sight word checklist that we were able to give, I was then able to put my students into small groups as we would do in the classroom. So our day, we start with a whole group reading with books that were given to us from the Summer Jumpstart Camp leaders. We start our day with our whole group reading book. We have a phonics skill we go over, we review our sight words, and we have a comprehension skill that we study each day. And then after our whole group, the students have a assignment that they have to create from Google Classroom. Students then, we would log off, students complete their classwork, and then I would pull individual students to do running records with them so that we were able to work on our fluency. We were able to do our repeated reading, check their reading for errors so that we're able to help correct them so they know what skills they need help with. Once students go back and we finish our small group, we then come back together as a whole group and we review the assignments they were given for their comprehension. The students that I have had, their parents are home with them. They are very helpful in this. If parents have questions, they send me an email and I'll either give them a phone call or a quick text message to help those students with their comprehension. So far, all students have completed their classwork that I have assigned them, and I'm able to key in a grade so that the students get immediate feedback from their assignments. It has been a wonderful experience, and the joy on the kids' faces when they're able to see each other, talk to each other, it is amazing. I can tell that all of my students have enjoyed Summer Jumpstart Camp so far.
Kayla, thank you so much. And I hope what you noticed with Kayla there, that feedback, you heard very loud and clear the feedback that's continuing between she, students, and parents. And I think that's so critical.
Might I ask a question here, Ms. Gephart?
Yes, you may, definitely.
This is really to, I guess, to Kayla or to Candace. One of the concerns we have about not being in class is the fact that our children might find it difficult to form a bond with a teacher, to find that connectivity, the feeling that they know the smile, they know the voice, whatever. Kayla or Candace, either one, have you felt like that has been an obstacle as you have set up your classrooms and begun to work with these students this summer, or is that something that did not seem to affect your situation?
We were dancing today
Yes, ma'am,
earlier.
I'll answer.
We were dancing.
I was actually, talking to my students this morning, and I have felt like I've known my students since the beginning of the school year. We were able to, form a relationship virtually, which I didn't think at first would be possible. I start our morning off with a morning meeting just as I would do in the classroom, and I think that has allowed my students to be comfortable with each other as well as myself. So I feel like I have known these students, like I said, since the beginning of the school year, and I feel like we've already developed a relationship.
I too, like I said, we were excited to navigate through the computer, and I was so proud. We were all dancing with each other at how excited how fast and how well that they were able to do it. So it was great. I mean, it really is. I believe we have a great relationship right now. So, I mean, I feel that they're on there, they're engaged. It's great.
Okay, so an additional question then. Obviously, y'all are working with very small groups this summer with, I think, Kayla, you said you had 6. How do you see a larger group? And of course, in our K through 3 classes, those are going to still be relatively small at under 20 for each of those classes. But now, Candace, I think you'll be going back to maybe 5th grade.
Yes.
So how do you see the involvement of the computer affecting your relationship with a much larger class of students?
I believe that the students have a lot of respect for each other. And I believe that especially after we started Google Classroom at the end of the year. So this is something that they are able to navigate and understand. And they're 5th graders, so they're a little bit better able to comprehend a lot. So I think that they will be able to share and make a distinctive idea that they cannot interrupt or have a problem with taking the time to navigate through it and taking turns. So I believe that they'll be able to do a great job.
Thank you.
So I'm very excited as the next slide comes up. I want you to see what's something that you may notice on this slide if you look closely at it. I want you to pay particular attention to my young man who's in the upper right-hand corner. And I'm going to get Miss Ward to tell you about her classroom in this integrated approach to learning. So, Miss Ward, tell us, where is this young man?
Well, he's sitting in his car with his older sister behind him. In the park, well, actually, I think this one was in his neighbor's driveway. The first 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, he was in the school parking lot. And then his sister informed me this morning that it's only 2 minutes from their driveway or thereof. So, because I've been more worried about the fact that I've had him sitting in the car doing his lessons, but he's doing fine. It is the most amazing, we have the best job in the world. So I have a list of things so I can stay on topic, but I don't normally teach summer school, but this year I decided that I needed to up my game because when the world kind of stopped on March 13th, I was not prepared digitally to become an online teacher. So I muddled through the spring and I did what I could. So when summer school came, I was in. Very scared. I'm not scared anymore. I'm very excited now. It's teaching at its very best. Yes, I only have 4 students. thinking with the question Ms. Carter just asked, I could possibly have 10 students online. No problem. I'm excited. 10 little faces smiling at me. No problem. I'm not worried anymore. I think when I get challenged, rather than, yes, I have fear, and then I just hit it. I was not using Google Classrooms. I am now. I don't have a pretty bit emoji scene yet, but I'm going to get there. We start our day as well at 9:30 per child request, not to get up any earlier. We have our small group. I have 2 students that were my students in my 2nd grade classroom. And the very first day after I did my running records, so impressed. They're pretty much, their reading is where they were in March. I know we want to move them forward, but if we haven't lost anything, then I was happy. And the strategies are in place, and it's so exciting. One little girl I didn't know very well, but her classroom teacher told me something about her, and she's right where she expected her to be. And then I have a student from another school in a different grade. And it's really kind of cool to be able to work with an older student to see where my kids are going. So there's that happening. My favorite, I don't know. The one-on-one is really great. It's teaching at its core. It's the differentiation at the highest level. I have to watch the clock because we can get involved and it can be over an hour, and neither one, we could probably keep going. And we're talking about 7-year-olds. So that's pretty cool. I've loved how, as I was listening yesterday or today, the flexibility, because I work at Robbins compared to other schools. It's going to have to be different at Robbins. It's going to have to be different from in my classroom, even on just my team, and even in my classroom. And the flexibility is there to do what's best for my students at this time. And for me as a teacher, the support, it's been amazing. Ms. Gephart, Ms. Stewart, and Ms. Gray, as soon as I have a question, they answer emails right away. That support has been there. We can do this. We could do it. I'm excited. So I don't know. I tend to, I've got my list here. Yeah, we can do it. It's the flexibility, the kids are excited. One thing that's really kind of fun, for parents listening, for those of you that have allowed your children to watch all of the animal shows, my kids are so knowledgeable about animals now, and they need that vocabulary. So thank you. So all of the TV time was not wasted, just saying. So, and
So Patsy, I have a question. This is Pam.
yes, ma'am.
With the little guy in the car, was that due to just trying to connect from a hotspot perspective, like a drive up and learn?
In Robbins, my understanding is there are some pockets where there is just no way that the internet can get through. And I had this trouble in the spring with some families, even with hotspots. So they can navigate within their house. Jaden can probably find it, but it is easier for mom to put him in the car. Okay. And the cool thing that's been happening is he's there, his older sister's there. I do the whole group, and then I go straight into his one-on-one, just so she doesn't have to keep driving back and forth. And he does his assignments, and I check it. Hit or miss. It's not a perfect world, but yes, the county has done everything, and mom has done everything and beyond. And that's, yes.
Ms. Ward.
Yes.
This is John Weaver. How long does one of your sessions last?
Well, depending on too much teacher talk, and they can talk too. I got sung to the other day. She wanted to sing me her goodbye song before she left. I feel like I'm pretty good at noticing when they're getting tired. So to answer your question more succinct, at least 30 minutes, and I would say they've gone as long as 45. So, but yes.
Do you see any problems with attention or distractions?
Oh no, and I watch that too, because just my classroom management, and I feel like on top of it when they're in front of me. And so digitally, it's actually even easier. And then I can see when they're reading text where those eyes go at point of difficulty. Are they staying on the word, or are they looking up at me? So it's eyes on book kind of thing. So it's really cool. So yeah. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I think as you've seen from our teachers, this Jumpstart Camp has really allowed us to explore and develop 50. What I'm most excited about is we have 50 teacher leaders out there who are in this digital environment now who are going to be able to help others. And I'm just so excited for that. We have looked at and going to that, what would a day in this integrated approach look like? We know we definitely heard from those teachers that online direct instruction is so important, specifically since students are going to have to show mastery of standards and we've got to have feedback experiences. So you see here a chart that looks at online direct instruction, but I want to say this is not all at one time. This is, I may have a 20-minute lesson and then have kids go out and work on other things while I do some small group instruction with other students for maybe 15 or 20 minutes. We did put in the total instructional day, and it's sort of a range. It just depends on how quickly students work through information, but it is about really looking at the opportunities they have and the assignments they're submitting for their attendance. And we're very excited as we look at that sometimes they may have a longer assignment, some days it may be a shorter assignment. So we just put a range out as sort of a guide, because what we would hope, as you heard Patsy say, if it's not in a direct instruction, I want families to know, okay, I need to let Donna get off and go have some PE time outside before we continue here. I do want you to know what an instructional day may look like in this integrated approach. And I want you to remember the word I used earlier. It is very flexible. And I think several of the teachers use that flexible. We may have a whole group where on A day, our A day group is there and our B day group remotes in for us to have a whole group instruction. So we might all be together, some virtual, some face-to-face, but I'm teaching everybody the skill and standard. Depending on my lesson, I might say I'm going to do whole group with my A group who's face-to-face. Then I'm going to transition them to that true integrated approach and put them on the computer where they're doing an activity on the computer so I can monitor and watch how they're downloading information and uploading information. Then I may transition over while they're working on their assignment and have a small group instruction with my B group who is at home in a remote environment. So the key to this, and I think the teachers really stress this, is it's about that scheduling, about getting together. I strongly, they have PLC, the Jumpstart teachers have PLCs with us twice a week, and we had ours this morning. And this just shows you how dedicated our teachers are. One teacher said to me, well, 7 o'clock works best for my student. So I have a virtual meeting with her every night at 7 o'clock. Guys, that's way above and beyond. And I think that our teachers are, as you heard Patsy say, we've got this, and I think that they definitely do. So this range is going to be a very flexible. It's going to be working with parents. It's going to be working around, and those students who are offline. I want to go back to that young man who he was provided a hotspot. We provided hotspots for kids who needed it as well as a device. But we know there are going to be some kids in pockets who will be offline, and those are ones that we want to have office hours so that the teacher is calling and reaching out to every day. So as we think about this, I think you'll see it change and evolve. But I also really am excited with the integrated learning, because when we look at the plan had to address some of our, what I call critical students that we want to make sure we are providing those supports, those differentiated supports for. You see we had to address exceptional children, EL children, homeless children, and gifted children. And I was so appreciative that gifted and talented students were on that list to be able to say, we've got to make sure they have differentiated experiences. So when we look at that flexibility, again, that integrated approach, what I'm excited about is the EC teacher may come in and work with a small group virtually. That AIG teacher may have a small group virtually as well as whole group. We are just, the word I want to leave you with as we think about these plans and the support we want to provide is that it's going to be flexible. Classrooms are going to evolve and change on a consistent basis. And I do want to say we'll continue in this integrated approach to work with our families, our community partners. Boys and Girls Club has already reached out to us and said, hey, we'd love the training on your learning management systems. So this is where I really think is the strength of our community here in Moore County, is everybody pulling together to ensure that our learners have everything they need.